Hello everybody, you're welcome back again to the Reggae Appreciation Society. Whenever a roll call of the greatest women in reggae music is made, we always hear the names of the likes of Rita Marley, Marcia Griffiths, Millie Small, and even recent sensations like Queen Ifrica. But the most glaring and criminal omission is none other than the enigmatic, beautiful, and sensational Puma Jones, an American master's degree holder who abandoned the rat race, moved to Jamaica, and became the first woman to bag a reggae Grammy. The group Black Uhuru has recorded several lineup changes over the past 5 decades of its existence, but the most iconic and successful incarnation was the trio that comprised of Michael Rose, Ducky Simpson, and Puma Jones. Despite the powerful lead vocals of Michael Rose, she was and is still considered to be that trio's true secret weapon, as her ethereal, haunting vocals combined with those of her bandmates to create the perfect harmonies. Not to mention the fact that her deep spirituality infused an even greater level of consciousness to Black Uhuru's music. If Ducky was the boss and Michael Rose was the flame, Puma represented the heart and the soul. And let's not even talk about the unbelievably hypnotic quality that she brought to the table in live performances. Aside from the amazing artist that she was, Puma was described by people closest to her as a wonderful, peaceful, and beautiful soul, an awesome partner to her husband, and amazing mother to her kids. With her day job as a social worker, she was the pillar of her community and the embodiment of a true Rastafarian queen. She was heading on a scorching trajectory of development as an artist and was beginning to make the transition to taking on a bigger responsibility as a lead vocalist on some songs when health challenges would force her out of the group, and she would pass away in circumstances which are bizarrely similar to those of Bob Marley, as we will see later in this video. Let's take a look at the story of Puma Jones, the unforgettable queen of Black Uhuru. Almost 25 years before she would become the heart and soul of one of reggae's greatest ever groups, she was born ordinary Sandra Jones on October the 5th, 1953, in South Carolina, USA. But she would be raised in Harlem, New York, as her family moved there while she was still a child. She was an exceptional student, and after getting her first degree, she would go on to bag a master's from the prestigious and Ivy League Columbia University in New York. But aside from her studious life as a scholar, she had major interests in singing and dancing. Her love for the latter would lead her to join the Chuck Davis Dance Company in New York, founded by the legendary Chuck Davis, an African-American choreographer focused on traditional African dance. Sandra joined the dance group while she was still a student and was a very active member for years. With a master's degree in the bag, she commenced her career as a social worker in the mid-1970s, working in the ultimate concrete jungle, New York City. The hectic pace of life in the Big Apple and what she saw as a crazy rat race quickly caused her to become disillusioned with where her life was going, and she began to dream about escaping. So in 1977, she saved up some money and went on a vacation to the beautiful sunny island of Jamaica. And the moment she set foot there, she just knew that she was home. After her holiday was over, she took around to look for a job, and with her qualifications, she easily found work as a consultant to the Jamaican Ministry of Housing to help set up the Nannyville housing project in Kingston. But her passion for singing and dancing was just too strong to resist. She found herself a gig as a singer and dancer with Ras Michael and the Sons of Negus. But not long after she joined that group, Ras Michael began to tour the US very extensively, as Puma had just moved over and wasn't too keen on going back to the US. She cut ties with Ras Michael and kept looking for opportunities in Jamaica. Around that time, Black Uhuru's second incarnation, comprised of Ducky Simpson, Michael Rose, and Errol Nelson, had just suffered a mortal blow after releasing their debut album, Love Crisis, as Nelson had quit the band. Ducky was on the lookout for Nelson's replacement and was eager for a new sound. And just as he wished, good fortune would provide exactly what he needed. Puma and Ducky had a mutual friend in a Rasta man called Kojo, and Kojo was walking by Puma's house one morning and she was singing pretty loudly while cleaning her room. Kojo was stunned at what he had just heard and went straight to find Ducky and told him that he had found Errol Nelson's replacement. A meeting was arranged, and after Ducky had heard what she could do, Puma Jones would join Black Uhuru in 1978. Around that same time, Sly and Robbie had parted ways with Peter Tosh and were now free to enter into a collaboration with Black Uhuru. The trio would go into the studios with Sly and Robbie and would record a slew of incredible songs which have since become absolute classics like Guess Who's Coming to Dinner, Plastic Smile, and Shine Eye Gal. This new lineup was simply a match made in heaven. Michael Rose's magnificent and powerful singing style was masterfully complemented by Puma and Ducky's harmonies. Puma in particular had an almost ghostly and definitely haunting chanting quality about her voice, and it would prove to be the perfect foil for Ducky's solid lower key. Black Uhuru had incredible vocalists like Don Carlos and Garth Dennis, but Puma brought something entirely different to the table. Very similar to the impact that the I3s had on Bob Marley and the Wailers sound, Puma infused the previously gritty sound with her angelic, sweet, ethereal, yet very powerful facets of the harmonies. By 1979, Black Uhuru had put enough material together to make up their album, Showcase, that was released under Sly and Robbie's Taxi record label. The album simply lit up the airwaves and sparked a massive craze, both in Jamaica and overseas. Their music had caught fire in the US, and the fact that one of the members of this incredible new Jamaican group was an American aroused even more interest. New York radio station WLIB would sponsor a concert at Hunter College the same year. Puma, along with her group, would mark her first homecoming in New York with a spectacular show that would cause the group's popularity to explode even more. In December that year, the group was invited to perform at that year's edition of the Reggae Sunsplash, and they would deliver simply one of the most sensational performances in the history of the festival. Michael Rose provided the roaring, powering lead vocals, and Ducky coolly skanking as he gave his own solid side of the harmonies. But it was Puma that truly emerged as the icing on the cake. She pierced the air with her ghostly chanting vocals, capturing all attention with her non-stop flowing dance moves, while decked out like a true African queen in exquisite traditional outfits. Chris Blackwell, who watched their show, signed the trio to Island Records immediately on the strength of that performance, and they would release their new album Sensimilla in 1980, which became a smash hit and critical success. And that album was followed by the even more successful Red, which would come out in 1981. Puma would in that period meet musician Ras Joel, and the pair would get married and eventually have 2 sons. Black Uhuru at the time was simply on top of the world, but behind the scenes there was plenty of infighting between Ducky Simpson and Michael Rose, with Puma always in the middle, trying to act as the peacemaker. After recording the songs for the 1983 album Anthem, the group would embark on a staggering world tour in 1984. The bad blood between Puma's bandmates were at an all-time high and would reach a whole new level when Michael Rose would secretly get married while they were still on tour. Ducky having no clue wasn't all that shocking, but Michael Rose had kept it from Puma as well, and she was said to have been really hurt when she found out. So Rose would soon after leave Black Uhuru after the end of that tour, leaving Puma even more devastated. He wasn't just a close pal and colleague of the last 6 years, but was sort of family, as her husband and Michael Rose's wife turned out to be half siblings. But despite the gloom, Puma would get a lift when Anthem bagged the first ever Grammy for Best Reggae Album in 1985, making her the first woman and also the first American to achieve that feat. Soon after, Ducky would get a replacement for Rose in the person of Junior Reid, a Waterhouse singer with a powerful singing style similar to Rose's. They immediately went to work on the song that would make up their next album, Brutal, which would come out in 1986. The album would feature classics like Great Train Robbery, and Puma's first ever attempt at singing on lead vocals in the track City Vibes, which I personally consider a great start, and definitely a good sign of more to come. Everything seemed to be falling in place and getting back on track, and the group began work on their next album, Positive, in 1987, when Puma was diagnosed with breast cancer. It was a huge blow to Puma as well as the group, and she was forced to withdraw from Black Uhuru and undergo treatment. She was eventually replaced by singer Olufunke, who sang her parts on the album. To be closer to her doctors, Puma was forced to return to the US as well. She battled the illness for more than 2 years, but sadly would pass away on January 28, 1990 at the age of 36, 9 years after Bob Marley had passed away from cancer at the same age, and she was buried near her family's home in South Carolina. Her death was a huge blow to her family, friends, colleagues, and the entire global reggae community. She didn't just represent the core of one of reggae's greatest ever groups, but was a truly special and exemplary human being. Despite her accomplishments and training, she was brave enough to take a leap of faith and chase her dreams, and she would end up escaping the rat race and achieving immortality on her own terms. We will never forget the beauty, the brilliance, the grace, and of course, the amazing voice of the great Sandra Puma Jones. So there you have it. Thank you for watching the video today. Please leave a like, subscribe, and until next time, God bless.